Can we have roll call?
Trustee Harrod?
Here.
Trustee Montez?
Here.
Trustee Sierra?
Here.
Trustee Silver?
Here.
Trustee Slover? Vice President Hill?
Aye. Here.
President Johnson?
Here. Okay, we're gonna go ahead to a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
we need a motion to approve the minutes of May 28th.
So moved. I'm
Second.
Question? Roll call?
Trustee Harrod? Trustee Montez?
Aye.
Trustee Sierra?
Aye.
Trustee Silver?
Aye.
Vice President Hill?
Aye.
President Johnson?
Aye. Motion carries. Before we get at our staff reports, we're going to move citizens to request to address the board. We're going to move that up further. Okay, everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah. Yes.
We have citizens. Is there any citizens here that want to address the board? Come forward, please. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you for allowing me to come to speak to
Can you
all
move
of
the
you
microphone?
this evening. Okay, can you hear me now?
It needs to be lower. Yes. By her mouth. Yeah. There we go. Good work.
I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Just lean in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sure some of you have already heard about the vandalism and damage to my property. I am right next door to our wonderful 500-year-old oak bur oak tree. And I'm really concerned about even that tree with kids running like wild Indians pulling at the tree branches. First and foremost, I have Leslie that stopped by. I have Alex Carmona, my second district person, has stopped by to see this situation. They have pulled the branches off of my Himalayan pine and my Arborvitae row, which has been the green fence next to this wonderful historic tree. Playing with them, breaking the branches off. And the site that they leave over where the picnic table is has been a mess. 4 weeks. And the yelling and the screaming to the top of these children's lungs are deafening, and I've been able to hear this noise as well as across the street inside my home. It went on for hours every day. And yesterday, there were 2 little girls, mother there. They have these motorized like skateboards or something. I don't know. I'm not familiar with all that. My kids are all grown. So I don't understand, but they were rolling around in the park. Now, this giant oak park is a quiet park. It is not an activity park. There's no activity for kids to be playing around there at all. It is quiet and peaceful. People used to come up from Methodist Hospital, nurses, try to get away from the stress that they're dealing with all day long and have their lunch. And it's a peaceful little place. I've lived there. We restored that house. It was destructive and ready to be condemned by the city. We restored it. And for 30 years, I've never had this type of activity in this park where the noise, the destruction, and then they lit a fire last Thursday over there on the pad with my branches. I've had it up to here. I've had good results with the police. They have come. Park people have come. I can't remember the name. I called. They have come out. They have looked. I have pictures, and I think some of them took pictures as well. Leslie has got, I know, some pictures. And besides that, this woman claimed that she is a homeless. There were 3 adult women, 4 children. This now has gone on for like almost a month. They came here, they were dropped off here from Champaign. I don't know who's sending these people to our city, but I've had it. The kids should be in school. The kids said, we don't go to school. So, okay, she's smoking, vaping, has got funds to buy this type of situation, but they're homeless. I would like to also put a big ask out for our park district here in Peoria. We could be #1 in this nation. I heard just last week on the world news that over in Europe, they are banning all cigarettes, vaping, marijuana from their parks and all of their beaches. Just think of it. This is harmful. I'm trying to go out and garden in my own yard, and what they're doing over in the park with all of this horrid odor, it's just coming my way. The wind is in the right direction. And if I had little ones or my little grandchildren, we'd have to go inside. It is a big health issue. So I'm asking a big request for Peoria, Illinois to be the first in our nation to put out the ordinance. There is banning of cigarettes, there's banning of the vaping and this marijuana that we have to put up with. It is a truly health hazard for all of us, especially for our little children. So I appreciate everything that you could possibly do to make that happen. If they're doing it over in Europe, and I've been there, many places, they're not going to put up with what we are putting up with here. This is a disgrace. And you should see the park. Litter, garbage, and everything, because they just leave everything there. Smoke, put down the butts. And there's children, you know, we have these campouts. You're all aware of that? Downtown, they're cleaning up the downtown. But guess what? Right behind that park that sits on High Street, from my house all the way over to Main Street, there are campouts. There were 7 different campouts. These kids came up and told me, you know what's inside those tent camps that they're putting together here in the woods? I said, what? Well, clothes and stuff like that, but there's needles. Do you know how serious that is? Leaving needles in these tent camp sites. If one of these children would have poked another one, guess what? If it's on your park, people are lawsuit happy. They'll come back thinking that, well, we can get some money for those habits that they have. It's dangerous. Needs to be cleaned up. On our property, ours goes all the way down to the med school. And my son said, Mother, I'm widowed. It's time now, he said, we're cleaning up. All the brush, taking down the scrub trees. So I can see from the top of my property all the way down to the med school. So I don't have anybody camping on my property. So I appreciate your time tonight to listen to me. And I do hope that you will put a brand new ban on smoking, vaping, and also this marijuana. Thank you all very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to address the board? Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Just a quick introduction. My name is Mike McIntyre. I'm the 911 coordinator and ETSB director for Tazewell County. On tonight's agenda, you have an easement, and it's asked for approval, recommended by staff. Just giving you guys a quick update of what that means and who I'm here with. That is a last connection for our opportunity to have Starcom communication for public safety in Tazewell County. Tazewell County and Peoria County are going to be the largest downstate joint simulcast system, and this is just a piece of it. I have my partner with Stratus. They will be the ones doing the work, and just want to introduce myself. Thank you guys for consideration and understand how important this is. I know it's just an easement, but it is a very important easement to all the citizens of Tazewell County who I represent. So thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to address the board? Any other citizen want to address the park board? Okay. Seeing none, we'll get back to the committee reports, staff reports, I'm sorry. 6A, Executive Director.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you to everybody who participated in today's press conference celebrating the 10th birthday of the Peoria Playhouse Children's Museum. Tomorrow is the actual birthday, but amazing that we are at 10 years already. As part of that press conference, we did share with the community some of the planned improvements that we are working towards at the facility to include the implementation of the elements of the Gilmore Foundation grant, if you'll all recall, that we received as a matching grant to support improvements there. One of our proposed efforts is to glass in the other side of the back rounded porch to allow for more programming at the Playhouse and more permanent exhibits focused specifically on expanding some of the farm area to include a grocery store, potentially a food truck and a produce stand. We'll also be expanding the real tools area. So some shifting around of things as well. So I just wanted to make sure that as you see the news cycle and see that information, we'll send out the imagery that was shared today so that you'll have it. But very, very excited about that. And again, can't believe that that's 10 years old. I also want to take the opportunity to thank everybody who was a part of last week's Juneteenth press conference. We are really excited for the week to come. We did a walkthrough today in Glen Oak Park in preparation for next Thursday's Jubilee Day. So I hope that you're all able to participate in some form. Festivities will start at 1 o'clock with is it 1 or noon? It's 1, right? 1. With the car show that will take place in the parking lot by the Tricentennial Playground. But a full day of fun activities to conclude with a drone show that staff is finalizing almost as I speak with the vendor. It's going to be just outstanding. Those were the big things. Oh, I also want to remind everybody that tomorrow at 3 o'clock, we will be celebrating the ribbon cutting of the new playground at Franciscan Recreation Complex. So I hope people will come out. That will be followed by one of our regularly scheduled Parks on Tap experiences. So it should be a really, really fun evening in Franciscan. And then the voting for Columbia Park's playground
closes on Friday. So if you haven't voted already, please do so and make sure that you share that with your constituencies. We've had about 85 responses so far, thanks to staff who came out last night and stayed with the game time reps and a representative from the city of Peoria to gather public input from kiddos who were there playing on the playground or hanging out in the park. It was a beautiful night for that. So thanks to Becky and her crew for doing that, and Alicia for holding up the pictures so that they wouldn't blow over, because they did keep blowing over. So that was a lot. I talked really fast, but that's just an indication that must be June in the Park District. Lots going on, lots of things in lots of different areas. I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Anyone have any questions about Executive Director? Oh, everybody's happy. Good.
Everybody's happy. I like that. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Is Becky in the house?
He's in the house.
Our monthly report is before you. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to try and answer them. I think Emily kind of touched on a lot of the different things that are going on right now.
Becky
and
is front and center in my mind right now.
We got a
All
lot going
Becky
on.
Stuff.
a lot happening.
Any questions of our superintendent? Becky? Okay. The committee report. Finance Committee presentation of the 2024 audit. Oh, yeah, okay.
Thank you, President Johnson. It's Brian Mattis from Clifton Larson. Alan walks to the mic. He is the principal that was signing on the report. He's going to present to board and receive and file of the outcome. Go ahead, Brian.
Thanks, Carrie. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, like Carrie mentioned, my name is Brian Mattis with Clifton Larson Allen. I'm a signing director who signs on the district's audit this year. As all of members of the board know, did a more detailed presentation during the Finance Committee meeting, so I'm going to probably try to keep it pretty short and sweet, some pretty high level for this presentation. So a lot of the slides down here, we're going to kind of just skip through and mainly focus on the audit results. On the screen in front of you are the three different audit deliverables that we issued as part of the 2024 audit. I'm going to be touching on each of those in a little bit more detail on subsequent slides. So you can flip. The first audit deliverable I'm going to be touching on is the governance communication letter. The governance communication is pretty much an opportunity for us to communicate noteworthy audit-related items to the Finance Committee and to the board. Some of the key highlights in the governance communication are on the screen in front of you. Just kind of breeze through them real quick. There was one new accounting policy implemented during the year, which was GASB 101 related to compensated absences. There's one sensitive estimate that gets included in the district's financial statements, and that's related to total OPEB liability and the related deferred outflows and inflows. We had no disagreements, no difficulties with management. There were no uncorrected misstatements as part of the audit, and we proposed no material audit adjustments. On the screen here are the other two deliverables that we issued, and they cover the two different audit opinions that we issued as part of the audit. The first bullet point is our independent auditor's opinion over the district's financial statements. We ultimately issued a clean, unmodified opinion. And then the second bullet point here is our independent auditor's opinion specific to government auditing standards. It relates more to internal controls over financial reporting and compliance. There was no financial statement findings identified and no non-compliance identified as part of the audit. I'm going to flip through the next couple. Keep going, keep going. Yeah, and that's all I have prepared today. Told you it'd be pretty short and sweet. Just like to take a chance to thank Carrie and the finance team for helping us have another smooth year with the audit process. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Anyone have any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Motion to assign.
Oh, it's a receiving file.
I was so moved.
Second.
Question. Did do a roll call on this?
Yeah,
On the receiving file?
normally no, but That's okay. We can go ahead and do that. We can go ahead. and do it.
Oh, okay.
We got a
I just
motion.
never did it. We never,
Right,
on receiving file, we just,
right. Traditionally, we
Well,
don't.
I can take my motion back.
Just receive and
We don't
file.
need it.
well, I don't want to start
If we
something
don't
that
need
we
it.
don't normally do.
I've been advised that we should.
Okay, all right. The attorney
It
has
was my
spoke.
motion.
That's right.
Okay.
She still means it.
Thank you. Okay. Trustee Harron?
Aye.
Trustee Montez?
Aye.
Trustee Sierra?
Aye.
Trustee Silver?
Aye.
Vice President Hill?
Aye.
President Johnson?
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, approval of accounts payable, Finance Committee. We need to. Oh, we
Didn't do
didn't.
that.
Yeah, that's right. We didn't have time to go. All right, pass.
Bump it.
Forgot about
We'll
that.
just move it to next week or next
Next, yeah.
meeting.
That's right. New business, post-travel expenses approval for trustees attending IPD boot camp on May 29th in Plainfield.
I'll second.
Question? Roll call?
Trustee Harron?
Aye.
Trustee Montez?
Aye.
Trustee Sierra?
Aye.
Trustee Silver?
Aye.
Vice President Hill?
Aye.
President Johnson?
All right. Also wanted to know the book that we used, Slover, remember the cover? We had a distinguished individual on that cover of that book that we used at boot camp this year.
We did.
Yes.
Somebody at this horseshoe.
And I did try to get you one, but they had ran out. But I am going to give you mine. It was I was elated to see that they chose somebody from Peoria Park District.
Yeah. Well,
And it was a good-
haven't made a debut.
it was a
She'll be
good
very
picture.
happy to know.
It was a good picture of Trustee Hill and her daughter at the boot camp. Even though, the boot camps are very important, I think. They teach you a lot of things, too. They really are. They bring back, even if you've been seasoned or not, it's just certain things you just pick up and they need. So if anyone ever get a chance to, I call it board member development, personally. But anyway, thank you. We have a first read on the travel policy revision. 8B.
So this is presented with the edits as approved by the Strategy Ad Hoc Committee at the last meeting. This is the first read. It will be presented at our next board meeting for a vote.
Okay. All right. We have 8C, contractor service agreement extension.
So since Chief Todd Green's resignation in February, we have been actively searching for a new chief. We were able to, in April, as the search continued, we were able to engage with ICMG, which is a consulting company that has police and security expertise to provide some interim support to us and to help with some strategic analysis of Park District operations from a police and security perspective to ensure that our SOPs and our scheduling and our resource allocation was appropriate and at the highest level. In my spending authority, I was able to contract with them for a 2-month term. As we approach at the end of June, we approach the end of the second month. I am asking the board to approve an additional 2 months of service. Interim Chief Edelman is out in the hallway talking to the lady who spoke and addressing her concerns with Giant Oak Park. But he has been embedded with us. He is an administrative role only at this point. He is providing support and technical assistance to staff in their daily work. I apologize for not being able to introduce him to you in person until the last meeting because of the way the calendar fell. I should have found a way to connect with you in a different way, and I apologize for that. I hope that you don't hold that against interim chief. But he has been a vital asset to us as we have tried to continue to support quality police and security this spring without a chief. We do continue that search. We have reposted and placed it on several different employment boards across the nation with a specific focus on minority law enforcement officers who are qualified to serve in that role. As we continue that process, it is still our intent to move forward. He is helping us with some potential structure recommendations that will help us with long-term support of our police and security as we move forward. But in the short term, staff is recommending a 2-month extension to our contract with ICMG to provide administrative and technical assistance support to our police department as we proceed through our process to search for a new chief.
Okay.
Mike is only acting in an administrative.
At this point,
capacity,
yes.
So we're still short, operating one person short.
Yes, so we placed him on our roster. There are a couple of steps because he has been out of active law enforcement for a while. There are a couple of steps that we are working through to have him recertified from the gun range. And there's a course that you take just to catch you up on law. Those two things are in process. He has a waiver to stay on our roster for the next 6 months. We are working to complete that in the short term so that he could be backup and actually perform law enforcement duties as needed. But our preference is to keep him in an administrative role so that he can complete the other strategic objectives that are part of the scope of work that we shared with you.
And this is only for 2 months, 2 more months then?
Yes, I hope that we don't have to come back to you to extend it again, but if we do this in 2-month increments, that seems fair to all parties to be clear that this is as we work through the process.
And except for the dates, it's similar to the previous.
It's the exact same thing as he works through that scope of work, yes.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Question? Roll call?
Trustee Harrod?
Aye.
Trustee Montez?
Aye.
Trustee Sierra?
Aye.
Trustee Silver?
Aye.
Vice President Hill?
Aye.
President Johnson?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Okay. Golf Learning Center license agreement with Gopher LLC.
Me again. Okay, so in the back of the room, we have Matt Rixner and Nick Babcock and his wife Courtney. No. Courtney's, I'm so sorry. The other wife is Courtney. I'm so sorry. Melinda. So sorry. So they are in the back. They represent Gopher LLC. And we have been talking to them collectively as a board since May of 2023 about the opportunity for them to support the food and beverage and hospitality tied to our Golf Learning Center project. It is a long time coming after a couple of steps that we've worked through with you to bring to you a license agreement that we ask for you to approve so that they can provide food and beverage on site at the Golf Learning Center when we open.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Question?
I just have some comment, and I think I'm excited for the partnership, and I'm excited for Golf Learning Center too. I think that one thing that I just want to reemphasize while you all are here and while we also have new trustees is our goal is to make sure that this space is fully accessible, and you all have committed to making sure that this space is fully accessible. So that was just one point in the gist of our conversation that I wanted to make sure that I reemphasize and celebrate that you all made that commitment.
Amen.
All right.
Yeah, I just would like to thank them for the perseverance because I know this has been a long haul and you have other things that you do in your life. So I think I look forward to a really exciting experience out there.
I'm thankful for those good dishes that you fixed. Yes. Any other board members want to comment or anything? Okay, do we get a motion? We got a
They
second?
already did it. Yep. Ready to
Question?
vote?
Roll call.
Trustee Harrod?
Aye.
Trustee Montez?
Aye.
Trustee Sierra?
Aye.
Trustee Silver?
Aye.
Vice President Hill?
Aye.
President Johnson?
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Is there anything you guys want to say? Speak on. You can come forward if you like.
I just want to thank everybody. It's been a long time coming. it has been a lot of meetings and hard work and, but we always love seeing all these faces that we get to meet with. And so we just appreciate you guys, and it's going to happen. It's going to be awesome. We're super excited. It's going to be great for the city.
Amen.
So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
AD, the 22 is that Veterans Lease Agreement Amendment?
This one's me again.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So you approved as a board a lease agreement with 22 VA last year that provided for year-round lease of the old Detweiler Golf Course Clubhouse. Everybody remembers that. In conversations with them, and you have all been a part of this ongoing conversation as well, has been some changes in leadership, some changes in understanding or expectations tied to that facility. We've met with them several times. We had a conversation about the seasonality of that building and reinforced to them the capital cost associated with trying to winterize that building to allow for year-round water usage. We have at this point both agreed that that is cost prohibitive at this time, unless there is some sort of an outside source that were to come available to pay for that. So to address that misunderstanding and try to get us on the same page, staff presents to you tonight an amended lease that was drafted with tons of help from legal counsel, but we are requesting approval to amend the lease to allow for their use seasonally. So they will pay rent from May 1st to October 31st. That will allow us to eliminate those concerns tied to turning the water off when it gets too cold. And they won't incur costs for a time when they aren't able to use the building to the maximum. We have also committed to them to have better communication. They have on their part, which will be essential to that, identified their points of contact who we will communicate throughout this process, because there's just been a lot of changing of peoples as we've moved through this. We are still committed to the vision that they have. We certainly appreciate and support the connectivity between the work that they're doing as an arts organization and the access to nature that we're able to provide there at the clubhouse, and think that this can be a win-win for both of us. We also agree that when we reach the point where it is not that we will come back to you and talk about different opportunities. But we hope that this amendment to the lease, restructuring how they use the building and how we charge them to use the building, will help to mitigate some of those concerns. Staff recommends the approval of the 22 VA amended lease agreement.
Before approving, I just want to say thank you, Emily, and to the full staff. I know that was not a walk in the park, no pun intended. And so not only do I strongly agree with this, but I think you're totally right in that the expectations of each party is very clearly outlined. And so I think, identifying that communication channel has been one of the largest barriers that have been raised to me. So I just appreciate that you were able to find a path forward.
Thank you.
I will move adoption.
Is there a second? Question? Roll call.
Trustee Harrod?
Aye.
Trustee Montez?
Aye.
Trustee Sierra?
Aye.
Trustee Silver?
Aye.
Vice President Hill?
Aye.
President Johnson?
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, the easement, Grandview Drive approval. Status.
Good evening. Before you is a request for easement from Stratus Networks in Grandview Drive Park. So as you may be aware, the Grandview Drive Civil Defense Site hosts several antennas, communication towers, including a cell, and as well as public safety towers. This particular easement is to connect a fiber optic line to one of the public safety antennas. It's an underground bore. It shouldn't affect any trees. It's about 400 foot in length. And again, as They say from Tazewell County, it is part of a larger public safety network to connect to that tower. So staff is recommending executing the attached agreement with Stratus Networks.
Okay, any questions of him?
President Johnson, I move to approve.
I'll second.
Question? Roll call?
Trustee Harrod?
Aye.
Trustee Montez?
Aye.
Trustee Sierra?
Aye.
Trustee Silver?
Aye.
Vice President Hill?
Aye.
President Johnson?
Aye. Motion carries. Anything else you want to add, Mr. Freeberg? Anything else?
Nope,
He's the next
I'm up
item,
next
too.
too.
Oh, you're next item. Oh, okay. It's like,
We clumped the agenda
Okay.
strategically tonight.
all right. The land donation. That's right. All right.
Yes, we have tonight a prospective land donation at 3400 West War Memorial Drive. This is a set of 2 parcels. A local attorney and developer is proposing to donate those parcels to the Park District. The 2 parcels total 13.39 acres. For those of you who have been in the city a long time, this was once a mobile home park, but has been cleared off and vacant for the last decade or so. This land is mostly flat, has excellent access to War Memorial Drive. Staff has completed a phase 1 environmental study as well as an appraisal, and the environmental study showed no areas of concern. So staff is recommending accepting that donation of the 2 parcels of land totaling 13.39 acres.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second? Is that a motion?
Yeah.
Second.
Questions?
Do you see any improvements going on there and anywhere in the near future?
I think that's a question that would have to be addressed with looking at our bond issue and other large capital development needs we have coming up, such as zoo renovation, Owen Center, things like that. But again, we're, as you know, highly reliant on grants. So maybe something could come of that. But again, that will be discussed if this donation is accepted.
And anything like even maintenance with the cutting of the large field that has the small driveways. There's a little bit of a ramp going up to that.
Mm-hmm. So staff did conduct a, I guess you'd call it an ecological survey. We looked at some of the vegetation and the flora and fauna of the area. It's kind of got a little nice, bird community going. So I think we would want to maintain, to keep the woody vegetation down.
Just modest.
Yes, but we'd have to schedule that when thinking about what birds may be nesting. So that would be probably a once a year action, maybe several times a year. That's
I did
something
take
we'd
a
have to
walk around
discuss.
myself. Just-
Oh, okay, yeah, so you know what I'm,
I'm kind of familiar with the.
yeah.
So even if we didn't improve this space right away, it sounds to me from what you're saying that it has value as green space as it is right now. Would you agree to that?
I believe so, yes, yes.
Then the other thought, or the other question that I had was, so the attorney is donating the land, but he also suggested that it be named. He had a suggestion for the name of the park. Could we go back and say if he'd be willing to like give a little bit more for like a shed or something that we could then name the park after the?
I'm
So I
sorry,
did
if I
provide a-
can't, yeah, the naming thing, you're gonna go there, right?
I was just going to say, I did send a memo out, and you had a hard copy of it in your last meeting, just to provide his response to that inquiry. So
Okay.
I don't,
Well, I guess officially for the record, I'd like to know whether or not any conditions have been placed on the donation.
no.
So I just would like that in the record. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's a,
Did we get a roll call?
Trustee Harrod?
Aye.
Trustee Montez?
Aye.
Trustee Sierra?
Aye.
Trustee Silver?
Aye.
Vice President Hill?
aye.
President Johnson?
All right. Motion carries.
Thank you.
There's only one calendar or consent item. Does anybody want to discuss it or provide approval and want more information on it? Okay. Is there a motion?
There's two items.
Number 2 is pulled. There's no attachment.
I'm sorry?
The second one's pulled. There's no
Oh,
attachment.
okay.
Yeah, we got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Question? Roll call?
Aye.
Trustee Montez?
Aye.
Trustee Sierra?
Aye.
Trustee Silver?
Aye.
Vice President Hill?
Aye.
President Johnson?
Aye. 9B, proposal to Golf Learning Center top tracer.
We're going to defer that until next time.
Deferred, okay, as well. We have any pending business?
No.
Is there any citizens' request to address the board?
Yes, ma'am.
I was watching TV and it seems that Trump is cutting off the funds for Ukraine. And there are zoo animals in Ukraine that live in horrible conditions. And I was curious if your park district would be interested in having a fundraiser and bringing some small animals, because you can't deal with an elephant or other big animals. But if we could bring little animals, they wouldn't be killed and they'd have a better life. If you're not interested, that's fine. I'll look for someone else. If you are interested, I'd be more than happy to use some folding money to help bring some animals, little animals, to America, to Peoria. And by the looks on some of your faces, you haven't seen that Trump is removing all monies from Ukraine. And that includes the animals. They're just going to be killed. So if you're interested, you could like raise a hand. If you're not interested, I don't know how you all work. So if you just sit there and chit chat to each other, then that wouldn't do. But if you are interested, I would be interested, yes.
I'm just raising my hand.
Oh,
So while you talked, I actually sent a message to our zoo director, so we'll find out what's possible.
say it again.
I reached out to our zoo director because he is the one who can tell us what we can and can't do specific to zoo animals. So when I hear from him, I will call you and we'll figure out a plan. So make sure before you leave us tonight that I have a phone number or an email, the best way. Oh, she'll tell you. Well, I'll come see you in just a minute.
How much money?
No.
Circle back. Finish the meeting here in a moment, and I want to get more information from you. And
Well, there's not a lot of information. It's the money's gonna stop, the animals will be killed. That's it. I mean, it's black and white. It's no big deal. It's not
If we
pretty.
can,
I'll summarize what she just said. If you want to go back here, I'll tell you. Does that work?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, bless her heart. Any communications?
no, thank you.
Other business?
I do have one, sort of an interesting thing that happened when I was at the booth for Springdale at the Riverfront Park, or Riverfront Market. And there were lots of folks coming through, and this young woman comes through. She was a runner, and she was in great shape. She had this beautiful dog, and she said that she lives evidently her property is very close to Springdale, so that she was asking whether she could take her dog and, walk and all that, and work out, do her running. And she said that she and her husband moved to Peoria from the Chicago area, because they come down to this area for so many races, they decided to move here, plus the ability to train here. So I think that's another thing we can be proud of. And the Park District obviously is a great part of that. So I just thought that was fun.
That's awesome.
Okay. I guess there's another way, other business
That's fantastic.
that I could bring this up so all the board members could be aware of this. This summer is going to be really busy, and our playground is very, very, everybody likes to be on it. The new playground that we spent money for, and every walk of life enjoys it. But we also have to be mindful. I've been getting several calls of other children not behaving themselves. And we're going to have to address that issue. And then the children get into it, and then the parents and people are leaving, walking out, and those type of things. That's the only way I could talk about it, other than I can't speak to you each individual, but I do need your input, the board's input as to suggestions or anything that we can continue to make this a safe environment for everyone, So please do some thinking on this, in addition to your concerns, Montez, at our pools as well. So I am concerned. The summer's starting. We got a lot of activities. Staff has put a lot of hard work into these activities that we hear, and I want the public to know that we are a safe park district. And you can come and enjoy with your families and not have to worry about anyone, doing anything that you shouldn't be doing. So we do need to discuss some of these type of issues.
President Johnson, I appreciate you mentioning this. After our meeting last month, when we were looking at the safety report, and Trustee Hill had raised some concerns and you had raised some concerns as well, it led me to do some due diligence about our internal policing and how we are operating. And so I agree with you. I do think that the Park District on the board level should consider some sort of conversation as to what does it mean to make it very, very clear that there is a zero tolerance, really a zero tolerance of the behavior that you're describing. And I do think it is going to take a statement. The truth of the matter is when you have open space, people see it as opportunity for everything. And that includes the things that are not so good in terms of behavior too. And I do think that that isn't something that the staff should take on by themselves. They do need the support of the board. And so I agree that with going forward with your recommendation, that gets that done.
Unfortunately, we live in today's world, today's times, and we can't keep our heads in the sand on this. We really can't, because everybody wants to have a safe place to recreate, enjoy yourself, not have to worry about or be afraid to come. Or I see other parents picking up their kids real quick and covering up. That bothers me. It really does, that they have to live like that.
President Johnson, would it be possible for our interim chief to come up and maybe sort of share any thoughts about that? And also just some questions about the Oak Tree Park.
Sure.
I mean, would
I
that be
can tell you that we
appropriate, or-
do, it absolutely is. I can tell you that we have a standing meeting on Thursday mornings, and
Yeah.
President Johnson shared this concern with me earlier today. And so our agenda tomorrow will focus on operational strategies to think about allocation and placement of resources, as well as potentially some additional very vibrant, focused signage about expectations to help to reinforce and make the opportunities for staff to enforce that something that's clearer for people. I'm sure that you have other better things than that you'll come up with tomorrow to share with us, but that's one of the places that we will start, is thinking about how we allocate resources and how we think about that strategy operationally.
Absolutely. So some of the things that we've been talking about and some of the ideas that we have is obviously it's to set expectations and create the mindset that really it's a privilege to have the parks and to be able to use the parks. Looking at some of the incidents that we've had, luckily and unluckily, they've been children. Probably the oldest I've seen is 13. And that's challenging. It's challenging to enforce. Now, I will say that for the officers that have followed up with parents, kind of the Orbeez guns, the soft BB guns, if you will, have been supportive of the officers and have, not necessarily there when it happened, but have supported the officers' actions and have backed them up on those things. So I'm not seeing of the incidents a lot of repeat offenders, but there's still incidents, right? So one of the things that I was looking at is kind of the areas around the park. Perspective. I mean, nobody likes to have any bad incident. I'm not saying that any of them are acceptable, but relatively speaking, for the thousands of people that use the park and the types of incidents that we're having, we have a really low rate of incidents that happen. And again, nothing's acceptable. We can always do better. We want the officers, the security officers and the police officers to be visible and diligent. And we are looking at our hours that we're deploying the officers. We're looking at overlap. We're looking at being more creative and having more of an omnipresence with the staff that we have, or at least when we get to our authorized strength, because we are low right now, and that is hurting us as well. But we will be looking and discussing all of that. And as Emily said, we have meetings every Thursday morning, and really nothing's off the table. I would love your input and direction as well.
Anybody have any questions of Chief? Or?
Do you want to talk quickly about Giant Oak Park?
Yeah.
Sure. The reason why I stepped out is I spoke to I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, but I spoke to her and her support, her friends that were here, and we all empathize and understand her frustration, a lot of pride in her home and living there and wanting the peace and quiet. And I explained that, look at where we are making, looking to make improvement with the fencing and landscaping and trying to offer her some relief. She actually was really happy with the Park District's response and the police response. And we talked to her about the embankment that was below the hill, closer to the medical school. And the Park District was really instrumental in cleaning a lot of that up and hauling literally truckloads of shrubs and honeysuckle and those things away to try and open that up, at least for all of the Park District properties, which she kind of alluded to that she wants to do on her property too, to open that up. Unfortunately, unsavory activity, usually drawn to areas of cover where people can be, unseen and there supply some anonymity. We did meet with the city as well and U of I, and they were down there. We did a site visit, and I believe that their plans are to clean that up. Now, they have not done that yet, but I do believe that is in their plans to kind of help and give some relief.
Chief, I'm sorry to cut you off. When you all did that site visit, did you find that her claim of the encampments were valid?
Yes. So there was evidence, again, where the park had cleaned up the property. There was nothing there because there's no cover. But there was evidence of a couple tents. It looked like there was areas where people were living or at least hanging out. And again, that was the city is aware, and U of I, Peoria is aware as well. And so we worked with their team to.
Where those encampments were located, were they Park District property?
So my understanding was there were encampments on Park District property. The Park District cleaned our area up, cleaned the shrubs up, and basically it looks like it's open land now, right? So there was nothing on our property.
There was nothing while you were cleaning the property up?
No, before it was cleaned, I'm sorry if I'm not making myself clear. Before it was cleaned, Yes, there were encampments there.
Were
This
there
was
were
prior
there
to-
needles in, as she alluded to needles being in,
So we walked that entire area down there, did not see any evidence of that, but I'll tell you, 30 years experience in law enforcement, needles are very small, they get into the
yeah,
ground.
right, yeah.
So didn't see an obvious like dumping point for them. And Mr. Sierra, to your point, after the Park District property was cleaned up, it was as clean as a yard. There's nothing there.
Well, and the reason why I wanted to clarify is I just want to make sure that we're being extremely mindful as we deal with encampments on our properties.
Yes.
And
So I could speak to it a little bit. So there were multiple tent sites on the location that Interim Chief Edelman's speaking of on park property prior to us cleaning it up. And we followed our procedure, met with folks from the Phoenix street team. They came out, made contact with the folks who were staying there, gave them a time frame to gather their belongings, those that they wanted, and take those off site. So we did follow that process.
Is this the woman and children that, the lady that spoke to us was mentioning? Is it the same?
No, ma'am, this, no trustee, this was several months ago.
Was around Christmas.
Yeah, this was
Okay, so
towards the end of last
the
calendar year.
individual who she was talking about the kids and the noise, and I mean, is that still happening there?
Well, I'm sorry. Before we shift, I just want to make sure, I want to finish off where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And so, Matt, thank you for describing the process of what it meant to clean up
Correct.
the encampments. I think with such a sensitive topic, I don't want to leave any room for misinterpretation. And I want us all to be very clear as to the diligence that I know that the staff has taken to help the families and individuals who are in those encampment spaces. So that's what I just wanted to get at.
And I appreciate that. And it is a very difficult and sensitive process. These are people's, lives that they have with them, their belongings. In some cases, the areas are not safe. If there are needles or other unsavory things within these tent sites, and it's open public land, and kids can get curious and wander into these and unknowingly get themselves into a situation that they would have never bargained for. So we understand the sensitivity to it. We do have a process that we involve other folks, community resources. And even in that scenario, I know Emily was in contact with city staff from community development to make sure they were on the same page. And we felt really strongly that we needed to clean up the brush and shrubbery. There's a lot of invasive species in the area. It wasn't like the removal of mature trees or anything, but just cleaning it up, opening those sight lines. We were happy to hear that U of I was going to follow suit with that. To Chief Edelman's point, I don't think they've done it quite yet, but of course they also have to get authorization from University of Illinois and people outside of Peoria before they go and make those changes. But it has helped on our property. We do plan to do some more removals up top to clear up the sight lines even more for police security, neighbors, to try to take away those spaces where where folks can be unseen and do unsavory acts, try to restabilize some of those areas of the park. Now, I'll pass it back to Chief when it comes to kind of the noise making and some of those activities.
Thanks, Matt.
You're very welcome.
I had one question, if I may.
Yes.
So I know that she mentioned city police kind of working with you guys. I don't know, with you, or they just were called as well. Is Bradley Police, in terms of kind of doing monitoring, I know Bradley, that's like kind of in the Moss Bradley area. And Bradley Police oftentimes supports city police in terms of calls specifically in that neighborhood. Are they, or to your knowledge, are they getting out and kind of walking that park area, or?
I would just have to tell you, I don't know.
Okay.
I did have a conversation with Chief Joshko a week ago, because I do want to collaborate with with the other agencies, and I did also speak to Chief Ahart in the Heights about collaboration because we have so many parks and open
Yeah.
spaces there as well. So I would definitely find out for you,
Okay.
but I don't want to overcommit and give you wrong.
No. I know that we obviously are limited, and I know that Ms. Schwabel is the one that lives next door, mentioned that because of the sightlines, they're oftentimes getting out and kind of doing a walk around. And I don't know if that's something that Bradley Police is helping in assisting the city police in doing
Yes.
those. So if you could just follow up, that'd be great.
And Trustee Harant, to your point, speaking to the officers with the young lady and her children, they were there. They did speak to the mother of the children. The children were playing, and it's delicate, right? Because kids go to park and they play and they run and they yell, and that's what kids do. She was not argumentative. She was very cooperative. And if I remember correctly, and I can double check this, had no indication that they were homeless reading the report. But it was time for them to go anyway. So when I read it, I came away with the understanding that, hey, it's time for us to go. So, and I have to say, I don't want to put the officers into a position where we've got young children running around and playing, and kids swing from trees, and that's what they do in parks, and that's what they do in yards. And, when I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago, I don't want to be that occupying force. There's a reason, and there's, I will say common sense, but, I
It
get
was a
it.
moment of education.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about the damage she referenced to the trees? Has it been damaged?
I can't speak, I did not see it firsthand. Staff went and saw and did confirm that there had been some damage to her trees along her property line.
But she mentioned the oak tree was damaged.
The giant oak tree, no, not
Okay,
to our
she
knowledge.
made
no.
reference to, I thought she said.
There's a couple of trees. I'm not sure. I saw her trees. I saw another tree that wasn't the giant oak, but then she made mention of the limbs are getting close to that gate. So I don't know if that's what maybe she's referencing, or just long-term, we need to kind of do an assessment of kind of what.
Sorry, I haven't seen any damage.
To the oak tree.
To the
That's
oak tree.
Correct.
Correct. We're actually, staff is in the process. Becky has a team member in her department. We're getting ready to expand the footprint of the fence a little bit to accommodate the growth of the tree. So you will see that activity. It's unrelated to what we're talking about tonight, though.
And I can tell you, I went to the area to understand it better. And as far as the giant oak, there was no damage that a strong wind or, that wouldn't have done. The officers did take some photos of the trees, bushes, tall bushes, if you will. Maybe there were some things pulled off with, the kids, but I didn't see anything that was egregious, if you will. I mean, and I say that with empathy because I know if it was my property and my tree line, I, would want to respect it as well. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, President Johnson, for bringing this up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. No other business, no action steps to review?
Nope.
Are
We
going
need to
back
recess
in-
back. Yes, we need to
You need a motion?
go back. Well, we need to adjourn this meeting, right? And then
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
We need to, we need to adjourn this meeting.
Oh, motion, I need a motion
to do with this.
Motion
Yes.
to adjourn?
Yes,
Just a
please.
second.
A second.
Question. Roll call.
Trustee Harrod?
Aye.
Trustee Montez?
Aye.
Trustee Sierra?
Aye.
Trustee Silver?
Aye.
Vice President Hill?
Aye.
President Johnson?
All right.
I'm going to stay here.
Meeting adjourned.